Here we are at Broadhurstfields, which is the home turf of FC United and Manchester women's team. We're about to bring you a short documentary showing the development of the team over the past 12 months. We've got voices of the players and also some of the people who work behind the scenes.
My name is Sue O'Brien and I am currently the physiotherapist for the women's squad at FC United.
Right, okay. So how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing this about 2 months now. I started working for FC, I think probably about a month after the women's squad got founded. I think they were having a hard time finding, new squad, new women's squad. They were looking for a physio that fit the role. Luckily I stumbled across the ad, or it stumbled across me, and I have long kind of history with football. I used to play a lot when I was younger. I've played at quite a decent standard, and obviously as a qualified physio I'm quite interested in the sports still, and quite interested in getting involved in the sports side of physio, because obviously working with athletes is not something you get to do often in the NHS. So this is a very nice little aside for someone who loves the game of football and doesn't play anymore. Little kind of unknown piece of history, but back in, I think it was just before the First World War, women's football actually got higher gates than men's. And during the First World War, obviously all the men were away at war, the women were getting massive gates. The war ended, the men came back, the women were still getting bigger gates than the men, and the government actually kind of curtailed the women's league to kind of support the men's again, and there was actually a ban for I think 20 years on women's playing football, which is a huge shame because the country is still only recovering from that, because as the Olympics that have just passed have shown, there's some great women's football out there. I was actually lucky enough to watch a match in Old Trafford. I think it was the US-Canada. And you know what, genuinely some of the best football I've seen for men and women's, one of the best matches I've watched in the last year or so, and that's including some of the Premier League matches I've watched. So it's definitely got some catching up to do, and that just needs to start from the bottom up, really. You need to get more young girls interested in the sport and kind of foster them and develop them through, because if they don't have the development up into their teens and throughout into their kind of older life, you're never going to get the standard that you do with the men's league. And that's why it's lovely to see a team or a club like FC United support a women's team, because it's a brand new squad and they are a women's team, and I know they're starting at the bottom, but the coaching staff and the board members treat this team as professionally as they do the men's, which is great to see. They're given the same kind of support, which is really the way to foster a squad. So it's good to see.
When you came to do the trials, was there something about FC United that attracted you rather than other football teams?
Well, I didn't go to the trials, I just came to training to see how I did. I didn't cheat, but I don't know, it's just...
it was on the radio, wasn't it, as well?
A newspaper, I saw that.
Yeah.
I think it was just, because we heard John on the radio, didn't we? And then we came to trials, and then everyone just tried out, and then we got the team picked on the same day, wasn't it? Well, you weren't there, but on the same day.
So do you think FC United is different from other football teams?
Yeah, definitely. They're really supportive.
You're also fans as well, like supporters.
So does that makes a difference, does it?
Yeah, it makes you get happier and play better, actually.
We get loads of fans turn up, don't we, at games and stuff. It's really good. And then there's a main few that constantly come to our games and come to train and things like that. And it's nice to see faces, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you played for other teams in the past?
I used to play for a small team called Woodbank, but it was just parents as supporters. So.
I used to play for Birkdale and Southport. At Birkdale I didn't play in a stadium or anything, but at Southport I did. But I played there since I was 11.
Right. Okay.
And then I came to here.
Yeah. So is this the best one you've been in?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you tell us what you think about the development of the women's team this year?
I think it's one of the bravest things this club's ever done. Other than starting up, of course. I think it's a really bold move, it's certainly ahead of us getting our own ground formally. And when you consider the amount of women that are involved with the club, it's a natural extension of our support. And you've just, half the population. It's about time that the women's game was taken seriously, and the vehicle of FC United is certainly helping to do that. And they're bringing a lot to the table, as far as I can see, and as far as I'm concerned.
They've done incredibly well, haven't they?
Certainly have, yeah. We're sort of heading towards the tail end of our first season now. Went right through pre-season where we played higher opposition. didn't have a pitch of our own at that time, so they were all away games, but that grounding that the girls got and the gelling that they did at that time was really important, and we hit the ground running with a great result, 11-0 in our first, or 10-0 in our first game back in September, and we've had some really good results, including obviously the win against Manchester City last November. So yeah, they've done spectacularly well and gelled really well.
So what's your role within the team?
Right from the very start, myself, Karen, that's my wife, and mother-in-law Edie, we wanted to support the women's team, and I just approached the club with an idea of doing a programme, but the club, certainly at the time that we're in as a club, in trying to develop the ground and all the other things happening off pitch, didn't have time to do that. So I'm an enthusiastic volunteer, so I offered to do an unofficial programme, and yeah, we're up to issue 10 now, and it seems to be well received, and we're raising some money in the background for the girls then to put towards something at the end of the season for them. So and outside of that, the natural extension then was doing match reports for the team, so that's giving them publicity, and Andy Walker's been a big help there in making sure we get things uploaded in a timely fashion, and they seem to have gone down all right. So it's really about a support role and where I can promote in the name of FC United, and particularly the women's team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's your names and what positions do you play in?
I'm Francesca and I play centre back.
Okay.
I'm Claire and I play pretty much anywhere. Centre mid this season and left back.
Right, okay.
But I'm naturally a left winger.
Right, okay. You're normally on the wing, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played this season. In friendlies I did.
Yeah. So it's been the first season. What do you reckon to FC United women's team so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. It's just a shame how it's turned out with City, but it's been fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, the way we've gelled and especially from the first game.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad in first half of the Middleton game, our first proper game for FC, wasn't it? And then to pull it back then, and then the way the season's gone now, we just keep building and building.
Did you play for other teams before FC United?
Yeah, me and Claire played together. We played at Bury for a while.
Right.
And then we both played at uni.
And I've played at Crewe as well.
Right, okay. So how does it compare with other teams you've played for? Is it different?
It's a lot more organised, well, especially compared to Bury, it's a lot more organised.
It's very professional, having physios and stuff like that. I've not had that at other clubs.
Right, okay.
So that's good.
Does that make a big difference?
Yeah, because we're always injured, aren't we? But yeah, no, it is really good, and it is very professional. With having a board and decisions going through that is really good.
Right, yeah, sure. And what being part of the overall club, do you think that makes a
definitely.
difference?
And being linked to the men, because at Bury there was nothing really to do with
They didn't do anything for us, did they?
Right, okay.
Whereas here it's a lot more linked together, having season tickets, watching the games and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fans are fantastic as well.
Yeah.
They give us a boost in games.
Yeah.
Does it make a difference?
Definitely.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you don't get that with
Gives
other
us that
teams.
extra edge, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen now for the rest of the season and for next season?
Well, we've got the League Cup to look forward to, haven't we? We've got the semis and then get our revenge against
Hopefully
City.
playoffs. Because if because we've had City development squad and they want to go up.
Right, okay.
So we'll keep trying to bring new players in.
So hopefully if we get through to the playoffs, then we might still have a chance of getting promoted.
Right, okay.
So that'd be fantastic.
Right, okay. How was it you first got involved in women's football?
I'm not a footballer myself, I don't play, and I wasn't actually ever interested in football at all until I got sucked in by FC, and it was the FC community side that really got me. This year my daughter plays football, she plays at quite a decent level, and she's gone to high school, so I had a bit of spare time, and I really felt that I wanted to do something that would contribute to the development of the women's game because she's involved in it, and because there's so many opportunities coming through for girls of her age and for young women at this stage in their career. The opportunities for international scholarships and professional careers are coming through, and to be part of supporting that and giving women an increased profile and increased opportunities in football as the game develops was something I thought that I could do, not as a footballer but as somebody who can hold the toilet key and do the confirmations and all the stuff off pitch still needs doing, and that's kind of my contribution.
Yeah, I think when I was at school you didn't play football at all, you only got a choice of netball and hockey.
No.
Is what we got. It wasn't even imagined that women would play football.
No.
So it's come a long way.
Yes, and hopefully it's going to carry on developing and will be even better, bigger and better game in the future.
Yeah.
But it is a very different game. Well, I think a lot of people come down and watch the women's team and they're struck by the difference between the women's game and the men's game. They're surprised at the quality of the female players, but they're also surprised that there's a different feel to it. And that's something I think that we still need to actually get used to in terms of supporters and how we behave in the women's game and what you can expect off the pitch, in the dressing room and on the sideline. But it is really, really interesting game.
So which way do you think it's different then?
There's something around the pressure, I guess, because women are playing because they want to play, whereas the bloke is playing because he wants to play, but because he has an expectation to compete for a career and to get financial reward for it. And I think there's a different feel about the women's game, that you get up there for the love of it first and foremost, and you see that passion. And what's surprising is that women can actually play. They get the skills, they get the training, they go out and play, and it's technically a very good game to watch, but it's got a different feel about it.
So did you choose FC United for any particular reason?
I heard about the background of the club and heard it was a good club with the men, so I thought it'd probably be the same standard starting off with the women as well.
Yeah.
And I just come with my friend because she got to come on her own.
Right, brilliant. Okay. And so did it live up to your expectations then?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you could tell it was a high standard club just by the trials and the turnout.
Right, okay. Does the crowd make a difference?
Yeah, definitely.
Doesn't get on your nerves?
No, it's good.
Right, brilliant. Okay, so do you think you'll win the league then and go up?
I'd like to think so, yeah.
This is Lee Sutton, who's the manager and trainer for the FC United women's team. So would you like to just tell us how it's gone, the first season?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Obviously since we first started the team, the girls, obviously getting the girls together, progressing, getting them to gel as a team, working together as a team. It's been brilliant. Obviously we've had a couple of ups and downs, which you do anyway with any team, but at the moment everything's going well. We've dropped down a couple of places in the league only because we've got games in hand.
Right,
we've not played for 2 months now.
Yeah.
Obviously hence the training session, getting in the good results.
Yeah. Does it feel like, because the results have been quite extreme, haven't they, sometimes, in a good way, does it feel like the need to be in a different league really, to be pushed or stretched or?
To be honest, but when I first spoke to Andy about the start of the team, I did actually speak to the FA, because obviously I knew that a lot of the people, normally within a women's team you'll get probably 15, 20 want to apply for the team. We've had over 70 apply.
Okay.
So obviously we've had a good pick of the players really.
Yeah.
But it's been one of them that in order for them to progress, we spoke to the FA and they've obviously turned around and said, yeah, really, because of the fan base as well that come, we're having some brilliant, sort of stats back on the fans turning up watching the game.
Yeah.
And it was just brilliant.
So does Manchester United have a women's team?
They don't have a women's team. Last season they had up to under 18s.
Right.
But this season they've only got up to under 17s.
Right.
And I'm a bit disappointed really, because they're feeding as once they get to under 18, they release their players and basically forget about them.
Right.
Okay. And we actually took 4 or 5 on from United last year.
It's a bit rubbish, isn't it?
It is really.
Like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, clubs don't make money from women's teams.
Could you tell us a little bit about your background and how long you've been involved in football and how you got to be involved with FC United?
Yeah, well, I started off, I was inspired by my brothers to play football. My eldest brother did have trials for England at one point, but he ruined that by himself. He didn't end up going. But then I started at the age of 9. My mum never wanted me to do football. She always wanted me to do dancing. I went to dancing for a few weeks. I didn't like it at all, so I had to persuade my brothers to speak to my mum to get me to be allowed to play. So I actually started at the age of 9. Started off at just a local boys team called Brendan Bees, and then just worked my way up. Played for the first women's team I played for was Ashton United, but that folded after a year. So then after Ashton United, I then moved on to the Greater Manchester Centre of Excellence, where I got scouted at Curzon Ashton just at a training session. So they asked me to go down for trials there. I was there for 3 years, But then Manchester United knew how well that was running, and Manchester United didn't have a centre of excellence for the women. So they then decided that they wanted to take the centre of excellence off the Greater Manchester. So then that became the Manchester United Centre of Excellence. So I was then there for 4 seasons. But Manchester United stops under 18. So when you turn 18, you have to basically go your own way. And they didn't help me out at all. Like, they didn't give you any pathways or any teams to get you started with. But I found out off a few of my teammates about FC, who fellow Man United players are at FC now. I think there's quite a few of us, about 4 of us here at the moment, so that's how I got into FC. I'm quite happy that I've came, to be honest. Definitely the best club that I've been at.
Fantastic feedback, that Kirsty. And
what makes you say, Kirsty, that it's the best club you've been at?
Just the support and everything involved in it. Like, at past clubs, you don't get the fans that you get at FC, you don't get the support from anyone. Like, people turning up to the game, it's just ridiculous. Like, you just don't expect it. Like, considering that even some of the fans have even said that they prefer to come and watch the women's rather than the men, it's just to hear that, it's just like amazing. It boosts your confidence as well. Like, with the fans there on the Sundays, like, if we're losing, like a couple of weeks ago we played AFC Oldham in the cup and we was losing, but then in the last 10 minutes, was it?
Yeah.
So towards the end, like, the fans just constantly singing, constantly chanting, like, boosting our confidence, and then that led us to win the game.
It's a great comeback.
Definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without the fans. Yeah, definitely. Also the team effort as well, like working together, like we didn't give up all the way through to the 90 minutes, we knew we didn't give up, but definitely fans week in, week out turning up would definitely help our success.
This is Amy Gillingham, and what position do you play in, Amy?
I'm goalkeeper for FC United and I'm also captain as well.
Right, okay. Now, this time last year the team didn't even exist, and it's come a long way, so what do you think of your first season?
Well, I think it's been fantastic, to be honest. I mean, at the trials there was a great turnout, so, you know, it looks like a promising team to begin with, to be honest, but for our first season together to get to where we are now, it's absolutely amazing. It's brilliant.
There's been some amazing scores.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, we've been winning by miles, the majority of the teams. I mean, Oldham and City were our biggest rivals, to be honest, but we still beat them both, and hopefully we will next week.
Yeah, sure. So this time last year, were you playing for a team?
Yeah, I was actually playing for Southport FC, where John Marsden was linked in with, so that's how I knew him briefly. So yeah, and they were in, I think, the Northwest Regional women's team, so they were quite a high standard.
So did you choose to come to FC United for any particular reason?
Well, John mentioned it to me, so I went to the trials, and then I got chose to play for them, and then it's a great team to play for, and I'm glad I represent the club.
So is it different from other football teams, do you think?
It's more professionally ran, I'd say, to Southport and all my other previous teams. It's probably the most professional team or semi-professional team I played for.
Does it make a difference, the crowd turning up?
Oh yeah, the fans are absolutely amazing.
Do you ever get sick of listening to your goalkeeper? Because I've never heard a keeper shout and ball so much for 90 minutes in all my life.
You just
you can hear every word as well.
Yeah, it's good having some, like, to me on the pitch, I'd rather someone tell me if I'm doing something wrong.
And she will, won't she?
Yeah, that's...
You do a lot of shouting, I've noticed.
Yes,
so do you end up that you can't speak on a Monday?
Yeah, Monday morning, I should be sponsored by like Strepsils or something, because I have a sore throat every morning, every Monday morning, or even after training Thursday mornings. It keeps everyone going though, and it does, keeps me going, I suppose.
That's what you're supposed to do, isn't it?
Goalkeepers normally do that. Bit mad sometimes, but hey ho, isn't every goalkeeper?
Well, here we are at Ronald Johnson playing fields. If you listen carefully, you'll be able to hear Amy, the goalkeeper and captain, shouting in the background, even though she's on Broadhurst Fields at the moment. Very soon we'll be able to bring together all our teams at Ronald Johnson playing fields for the seasons of the future. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the film. It was about the first year of FC United of Manchester's women's team, the first season, which has been a huge success, and hopefully we're going to go on from strength to strength. Thank you to everyone who took part in the film and helped to make the film possible.